Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session Thursday evenings. I try to be here every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm a local real estate agent in the state of Utah, and this is just an open forum to ask any kind of questions you want about the state of Utah or maybe about the United States. Sometimes I get people who join me from around the world, and I'm glad to answer questions about the United States or, questions in general. Had some good conversations. I've done the live question and answer session probably for a year and a half, possibly. So in Utah, as far as the weather goes, it's been a mixed bag of weather. Earlier in the week, we had almost record highs, 60-degree temperatures during the daytime. We had a cold front come through, dump some snow down. Not a lot of snow along the valley floor. Maybe a dusting, maybe half an inch. If you're a little bit further on the east bench of areas, like east bench of Salt Lake City, you received a little bit more. The mountains did receive quite a bit more snowfall. So great news for the ski resorts. And also great news for our water condition. I mean, we have been in a drought for quite a few years here in Utah. And we need the moisture. That's just the bottom line. So much needed, much needed. We need more. We need more. And hopefully we'll have like a wet spring. So that will add to our snowpack and our water resources. So be great. That's most of what's happened in the state of Utah. I got a couple things going on in the state of Utah. First of all, scam going on in Utah. Well, it's passed. The company that performed what's the best word for that? The company that scammed people is, I guess, in bankruptcy at the current moment. But the reason it made headline news was it was a house flipping deal at where it was a get-rich-quick scheme. They had celebrity house flippers from the TV shows that are very popular. They had those individuals as, I guess, like guest speakers. And I saw one man on the news that gave $58,000 and then like $103,000 or $111,000, something like that. They reeled him into more and more classes and education. But the state of Utah stepped in at some point and they went after this company. I believe they said in the article that the company brought in like $111 million. And the state of Utah has managed to recover, I think, about $12 million, a fraction of what is owed. Yeah, they reached a settlement for $12 million. And that's probably the only amount of money they could find that the company possibly has. So house flipping classes made millions. But the other thing I wanted to bring news for Utah and, possibly, sad news, possibly, is that the local military base we have here, Hill Air Force Base, took and deployed the other night, left in the middle of the night, I believe. They took their F-35s to Spangdahlem Air Force Base in Germany in support, helping NATO with this Russian-Ukraine crisis. So whatever that's going to mean, what will happen if Russia does invade, et cetera. But the planes, military personnel, they have all deployed now to Germany to help with the tensions that are going on with Russia and Ukraine. So they out here at the base, they fly the F-35s. So that's the planes that went over. So basically, just want to say that I hope everybody stays safe who has to deploy, and to keep in your thoughts and prayers, the people who serve in the uniform of the military that are deploying and possibly may have to go into combat. You know, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? You know, I don't know what Russia's doing. So, all right. Oh, in the military, going to Hill. Do you think investing in a house would be a good idea in Utah? Well, I've got two things for you. I guess the first thing is you'll probably tune me off now, but I noticed the Chelsea Football Club symbol that you have on your YouTube. I support the English Premier League. I have done for many years. I grew up with the English Premier League as a kid, and I'm actually a Liverpool supporter. So it's good to see, you know, Chelsea are a big rival to Liverpool. So it was good to see that. But yeah, I think buying a home in Utah is a good investment. I think it's always a good investment right now. All the guys who do the future planning for the state of Utah, every time I go to one of those particular classes, the projection is for constant population increase. People will need housing. So for the long term, I think it's a great investment. For the short term, is there a possibility that you and we might have some hiccups along the way? Yes, possibly. Can't really predict the future 100%. But I've helped many people in the military, and you know, one thing to keep in mind though, if the market, so if you come to Hill Air Force Base and you get stationed somewhere else, if the market does dip, would you be prepared possibly to turn it into a rental? So that is always my question. If you're okay with that, I think buying is totally fine. So that if you leave the area and the home market, if it's appreciated even more, you could sell if you'd like to. But if it's, say, the same price or maybe dipped a little, the other option that you have is to rent the home out. Many, many people do that. There's quite a few people that I know of that active duty military members, but they see how many civilian jobs are on the base and how many contractor jobs are on the base, that there's quite a few individuals that when they get done with their military career would like to apply for a job on Hill Air Force Base in the future. That has happened for many, many years. So, and some of those people have come back. They've rented their homes. Some people have come back to their original house. Some people have moved back. They've sold the home and bought another home. They have many options. So, but in general, I mean, I think home ownership is great. So I'm losing my voice here tonight. But and we're not talking just in Utah here, across the United States. So I think, you know, home ownership is great. It's a great way to build equity. And one of the nice things that I think, I don't mind being a landlord. I don't mind renting out my properties. So even if you were to buy in another state and the market does take a dip, if you don't mind renting it, let somebody else pay the mortgage. You know, historically, property has always gone up historically. So with the high prices due to COVID, how do people afford homes? If you answer mortgage, how do people afford the payments? I sure can't afford those high prices. Well, you know, I hear this all the time, the affordability issue. And quite honestly, it is a concern. It is a concern. It is a concern. But I also look at the other side, and let me give you one great example, or one example of this. Young couple, put them in a townhome. It was actually a new build townhome. So they're $300,000, but they put down enough money to lower their payment down to $300,000. So they mortgaged $300,000 And this was probably about 6 months ago. So the rates were just a little bit lower. I think they were, instead of maybe like 3.8, they were probably about 3.25, somewhere around there. But they were renting a local apartment in the area, literally probably within 4 or 5 miles from where they bought, for $1,700, 2-bedroom apartment. They purchased a townhome with a 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, new build. And their payment, I believe, was at $300K, was like upper 14s, like 1480, 1490, somewhere around there. And that included, their property taxes, their insurance. So it was less than what they were renting an apartment for, and much nicer than. I didn't see the apartment, but I would assume it was much nicer. This townhome then definitely had more room, and it had a 2-car garage. So I juggle both of those at the same time. But I don't know. Affordability is something that's brought up all the time. And I don't really have an answer for it, but I can tell you that in the state of Utah, I have never seen wages so high by far. I can tell you that there are people that are buying homes right now that qualify for these homes very easily, very comfortably. Most are 2-income families, but they're doing it. Turn it into a rental is what I was thinking, and own many homes as I travel in the military. There you go. I mean, I think that's, it, being able to let someone else make the payments, I think is great. Is absolutely great. And I always have a joke that, I could turn anybody into a millionaire, and people are like, well, how do you do that? Well, buy, say, 3 homes and let someone else make those payments. And after time, with the even if they don't even appreciate, if people pay those homes off, or they appreciate and pay them off, you could sell those homes, have $1 million. So it's definitely doable. It's not unrealistic, but I love the power of owning property and let someone else make the payments. So I think it's great. It's also good to hear about Liverpool and the constant increase of population in Utah. Yes, we are projected to increase by where our population is projected to double. So, and I think we're heading that way. We are heading that way. So the other thing is, and I don't know what you do in the military, but there are many people who post-military get jobs, civilian jobs on the base or with a defense contractor. And so it's very popular. People who get out of the military and come back to Hill Air Force Base, apply for jobs, et cetera, et cetera. They know the area, they feel comfortable, et cetera. So it's a great area. Oh, hello from Colombia. Great to see somebody from outside the United States. So it's good. Do you think Ogden is on economic upswing or downswing? 100% upswing. 100%. If you travel, and when you were here, I probably didn't tell you to take a tour out there, but if you would have had time, I would have said. But we have what we call the Business Depot in Ogden. It used to be a Army depot base, and the Army got done with it many years ago. It was turned over to the city or the county. I'm not too sure it controls it 100%. But it's hundreds and hundreds of acres. The buildings that are there from the Army time are all full. And now they are building on the available land, big warehouse buildings. There are companies galore. On one of my videos I think it was the Ogden video I did, where I was out there at the Business Depot Ogden, and I showed the board of all the companies that are located there. Well, there are more. Ever since I did that video, there are more that have moved in. Every time I go out there, I see new construction, and that's just one area. Ogden in general is spending and has spent a lot of money on becoming. They're trying to attract outdoor retailers, and they have done. We've got people from the skiing industry in Ogden, from bikes, you name it. They are pushing really, really hard to make Ogden business friendly for outdoor recreational companies. And there's a couple things in the long-term plan with that also that they've been working on and working on in the future. And one of them is they would like to put a lift that goes from Ogden up to the ski resort. I'm not too sure exactly how you do that. It sounds kind of scary, but they've talked about it. That area is also installing. They're also looking at getting transportation up to Weber State University from the train. And there's been a couple different projects that they've talked about. I don't know if anything is in writing, but they're working really hard. They're marketing themselves as an outdoor recreational area, and also outdoor recreational businesses to attract them to this area because of all the outdoor activities that we have in the area. So they are doing a fantastic job. I've seen the companies grow, but 100%. The other thing is that this whole area too, though, is when you talk Ogden, you also have to, in my opinion, you have to include Hill Air Force Base, because right there in South Ogden is the tip of Hill Air Force Base. And the programs at Hill Air Force Base are growing and growing. Just the F-35 program. It's the latest fighter plane that the military has that will be around for probably beyond my lifespan, probably. And the people and the companies to support that mission is huge. And they're all moving into the area. And so is, they're also working on some kind of missile defense system. I believe it's Northrop Grumman that has that contract. They are building right now. They've got under construction like 3 large buildings. I'm not too sure if they're just for that particular program or for their work in general. But that is a very big project that will be going on for many, many years. I don't know a lot about it, but I can take some guesses about it. But it's all to do with the missile technology. So there is a lot going on that's also attached with Ogden when you combine the military base and the companies that are moving into the whole area. What financial advice would you have for a young couple out of college wanting to move to Salt Lake City in the summer of 2023? We plan on renting. What are good places to rent, etc.? So there's a lot of good places to rent in the area. I would probably recommend, I would say 2 things on rentals. Number one is if you have to commute to a job, I would look for a rental that is somewhere that would give you a nice commute. Okay. And if you are coming here working from home and you do not have to commute, then I guess it would matter maybe what are your recreational activities that you enjoy. So if you're a skier or snowboarder and you would like to go multiple times a week, I would probably choose something that was more on maybe like the east bench of Salt Lake City, give you quicker access. If you maybe only ski once every 2 weeks or something, and maybe just, you could be anywhere in the valley and still travel to go skiing or hiking or mountain biking or something. But a lot of great areas. I guess it really depends on where you're going to be working. I personally would want somewhere close to work and not have to commute clear across town. Because the hard thing with Salt Lake City is you see I-15 going north to south. Okay. Yes, you can commute along that line, and it gets crowded depending on what time of day it is. But the biggest commute is trying to go east to west or west to east. There's no real freeway. You've got 215 that loops around. Yeah, some people have the opportunity to take that. But when you're trying to go anywhere else, east to west, when you look at the map, you're going down streets that have um, uh, lights, traffic lights. So you're constantly stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. It can take me half an hour, 45 minutes to go from the west side of town to the east side of town, or east to west. It takes that long. So I could travel from Provo all the way up to Salt Lake City in quicker time frame sometimes than it takes to get from the east bench to the west side of town. So that's the difficult commute, is going that direction. Well, north to south sometimes too, with what time of day it is, but east to west is no easy commute either, especially during times of day when a lot of people are going to work or coming home from work. Are there any banana belt type areas that are either north, southeast, west of where the inversion area is in Utah? Not as far south as St. George, but we don't want a ton of snow either, coming from Florida. Okay. So pretty much your largest area of inversion will be Salt Lake City or Salt Lake County. So the further that you get away from that area, you will see the air quality a little bit better, or a lot better. So that would be, stretch out like that. So, hello, long time no see. Hope everyone is well tonight. Yes, we are. Okay, Evan had a question about Snow Basin. Was that a question about Snow Basin, or was that a follow-up from another question you might have had? Okay, Evan, I got a little bit lost on that. So, but yeah, Snow Basin, great resort, great resorts. One of my favorite places to ski. Probably my favorite place, I would say. So then there's a lot of great ski resorts. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Park City Mountain, fantastic place. But it personally for me, probably some of the highest prices, a lot of tourists. But if you're, yeah, it's, I could say some names, but I probably better not. But if you're just a pure skier and you just want to ski, Snow Basin is awesome. So, if you want all the glam shots and all that there, people go to Park City Mountain. So that's about much as I say on that. So what is an inversion exactly? Okay. So when you look at the map, we are surrounded by mountains in northern Utah. We're surrounded by mountains. So what happens is the dirty air gets trapped underneath a layer of clouds. So it traps the polluted air down below. And we basically have to wait for a storm to come by, and it blows that air out of the valley. But because we're in a bowl, so it's kind of like a bowl with a lid that traps that polluted air down below. But the inversions have been getting, I mean, we do not see as many inversions. Our air quality has been improving year after year after year. And that comes right from the Division of Air Quality, who monitors all that. So how is the Epic Pass affected? How's it? I'm not familiar. I have never purchased the Epic Pass. I know it entitles you, or what I've heard is it entitles you to ski at different resorts. I think you are limited to the amount of times you can ski at some of the other resorts, but yeah, I don't. Haven't personally purchased an Epic Pass. So actually, I haven't purchased a ski pass in a while either. So, but I've been skiing. Inversion is intense smog during the winter. Yes. With being a young couple and out of college, can we afford renting in Utah's economy and starting our lives there? She will be a teacher and I will be in the sports industry. Okay. As a general rule of thumb, I'll give you one real quick website to go to, a local website, ksl.com. So K is in Katie, S is in Sam, L as in Libra, ksl.com. And then look in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see a little section that says homes, and you would click on rent. You can search the whole valley and you'll get instant pricing on what it's going to cost you for an apartment, a townhome, or maybe even a home. But in general, I would say, I don't really study the rental rates a whole lot, but you could probably find something in the $1,400 to $1,700, $1,800 range in the Salt Lake Valley. So if you feel that's affordable with the jobs that you have, I guess it'd be, yes or no, along with, I understand too, rent's not the only thing. You'll have other bills, cars, student loans, who knows, but, oh, I see, bad air. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yes. Yeah. Bad air. That's a great way to describe it. But yeah, teacher salary and sports industry, I would imagine probably could afford it. People are affording it every day. So inversions are caused by warm air sitting on top of cooler air, exactly, which makes the clouds in most cases. Cooler air gets underneath in the Salt Lake area because of their valley wind system. Yeah. So we're surrounded by mountains, so we're kind of like a bowl with a lid on the top, and you got to clear that lid for it all to blow out. Yes. Thank you so much. Love your channel. You're welcome anytime. That's what I'm here for. Hope you have a good time. I hope you enjoy wherever you're coming from. I hope you enjoy the state of Utah. That's one of the reasons I do these videos and everything like that. I think Utah is a great place to live. And I think it's one of the great places to live in the United States. I never go as far as saying it's the greatest place to live because everybody has different tastes and lifestyles. But if I had to say what we're probably known for is we're a family-oriented state and we are an outdoor recreational destination. So whatever your outdoor recreation enjoyment is, you will find it here in the state of Utah. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different items. So I do so much. So I love my UTV, I snowmobile, I ski, I golf, I love to hike. I love to ride the mountain bike, and I love the parks and recreation that we have here. I just like taking the dog out for a walk. So I spend my mornings doing that. Great enjoyment. Absolutely enjoy it. So lots of great parks around, and we have some great walks. Take them on hikes, the whole 9 yards. So great time. If you enjoy those types of activities, we're right here. And we live literally right underneath the mountain. We are like right underneath the mountain. And some people say to me, I've never been to Utah. They're like, well, do I have to spend like $1 million, $2 million to get a mountain view or something like that? And I'm like, no, you can live in an apartment and you could live anywhere along the valley, and you come out your door, you see the mountains. You're right there. The mountains are right next to you. It's right there. So no, you don't have to spend $1 million to get a mountain view. Coming from Indiana, I love the scenery and weather. Also, we'll be coming out the second week of March for spring break. Very excited. Cool. Spring break in Utah is not like spring break in Florida, by the way. So I don't know if we have any spring break parties actually in Utah. So Are there any bugs in Utah? Yeah, we get bugs. Yeah, we have some of the typical bugs. You get spiders and box elder bugs, and you'll see the occasional maybe black widow or something like that on the rare occasion. But I personally don't see many in around my house. But I spray my house with a repellent probably at least twice a month. I have in a pump up bottle, and I just walk around, especially during the summertime when I mow the grass. Now I just walk around the house and spray it with this home defense product, and it kills the spiders and all the other bugs from coming in the house. Any thoughts on 55 plus active adults? What do we fit in or not fit in? Yeah, 100%. 100%. I have helped people find properties. Well, let me rephrase it another way. We are seeing more and more people choosing Utah as a retirement destination. And when you pick up the magazines and, top places to retire, whatever, Utah usually does not rank very high. One of the reasons is because we have a state income tax. So at 4.95% is our state income tax. So it doesn't receive some of the highest ratings because of that. Oh, you got to pay income tax. But the people who are moving here in their retirement years is because they want to live an active lifestyle and enjoy all the outdoor recreational activities that we have, whether they're a skier or they just want to hike or ride a mountain bike. The people that I talk to want to live an active lifestyle, and that's why they're choosing Utah with all the things to do, et cetera, that goes along with that. So Utah is beautiful. I lived there 3 years ago in Farmington, Kaysville, and lastly, Draper. I'd love to move back. Yeah, very familiar you are then. How has real estate in Utah been affected? Not at all. We are actually probably right now. Last year we were super hot. It cooled off a little bit. We went to probably like what I consider the hot range, and right now we're super hot again. Multiple offers. A lot of people out there looking for homes. And some of that is due to the fact that the interest rates have bumped up. So we're seeing increases in interest rates already without the Federal Reserve even bumping it even more. So what are the best investment properties to buy for income properties in Utah? Single family condos, townhomes? Well, wow, great question. So I've done it all. Single families, multifamilies, commercial property. And my area of choice right now is commercial property. And that's what I'm focused on now, and hoping to get a commercial project built over the next couple of years. Already have the land. I love the commercial scene. That doesn't mean that the single family or the townhome or the multifamily is different. I just love the triple net lease. I love the commercial property. So that's what I'm focusing on now going forward. So if I actually, what is the best? I mean, I wish I could buy more farmland. Farm rental is to me is the king. It's the Mac Daddy of it at all. You have no toilets, no tenants, no trash, it's ground. You're renting out ground to farmers who, if you have the right farmers, they know how to take care of the land. They know how to fix the pivots. They know how to fix the pumps. They do all that. It's all part of their lease. And I'm actively looking for farm ground. I'm always actively looking for farm ground. So if the numbers are right, then yes, I will jump on it. But it's hard to find. It's very hard to find. So I love the farming. Given today's market, real estate, yeah, we're still really hot right now. The mountains are the selling points. Yeah, people love the mountains here for sure. Okay, good to kill bugs. Yeah. How rare would that be on the bugs? I'm not 100% certain on that one. 75 athletes on the U.S. Olympic team are from Utah. Oh, good. Good to know. I was not aware of that. When do the foreclosures come? Great question. Haven't seen any. There's very few right now in the state of Utah. There's very few in the country, actually. And I do not, the whole foreclosure business has changed. So if we do have a downturn, I don't know if we'll see a whole lot of properties hit the market. There are so many big companies, what I call Wall Street money, that are in that business now. They literally go to the banks and they say, look, the next 400 homes that come up, we're buying them. We don't care if they're in Las Vegas, Utah, Idaho, they're buying them in blocks. And the banks unload their inventory in huge blocks to big companies, really big companies and investment companies. And they hold them. Some of them companies will put them on the market slowly. Some will turn them into rentals. But there's a lot of money going into that industry. Great. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, saw homes in the low 400 last year on Provo, now seeing 500 plus. That's correct, but that's also most areas around the country. So, yeah, it's what the market is around the country. We're definitely not isolated just in Utah. Idaho is seeing growth. Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Florida. Yeah. Yes. Great. Thank you. You're welcome. I've heard here in California that we're getting foreclosures coming soon. Okay. Okay. Because last I heard, California market was still very hot, but it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's hard to predict the future. I personally just have to go along. I mean, and it depends. We also have to keep in mind what the government does. So when COVID first hit, right then it was dead quiet. I mean, my phone didn't ring, which is very unusual. I'd go to showings. I was the only one there. Appointment for the whole day. People weren't going out of the hand. I go, oh boy, the market is crashing down. This COVID's hit the country and it is crashing down. Well, then the federal government stepped in and they started buying back mortgages to the tune of, billions of dollars per month. And they're still doing it to today. They have scaled back and they've been tapering for the last few months, that purchase, but they stabilized the real estate industry during the COVID period. So when they were buying back these homes, buying back not homes, but the mortgages off of mortgage companies and banks, that enabled those companies to go out and get more loans or do more refinancing. And that created a huge boom, which in turn brought the interest rates down to sub 3%. Some people were 2.75, 3%, 2.85. It stabilized the real estate industry. So in probably every state over the last 2 years. So with that being said, the government could do it again. So if we had, say, a crash like 08, 09, they might step in and say, hey, I'm going to buy back some of these securities. So to try to help stabilize the market. So will they do it? I don't know. So it's, wait and see. Only time will tell. I thought when COVID hit, we were on the downslide and we were going to be sliding for a long time, but the government stepped in and this plan that they had, it worked. It worked. It worked great. So kept the real estate market. So are you guys in a drought out there? Yes, we are. We've been in drought for a few years. We were hoping things look positive here. November, December, we received a lot of snowfall. I mean, it was snowing really good and, a lot of moisture, but January and February, we've been dry. We have been really dry. So, storms have been like missing us. I noticed that, like Colorado's been getting hit storm after storm, but it's been kind of funneling around us. So, yeah. And I don't know what the future holds on that. So I don't know if it's part of the climate change that maybe this is how every winter is going to be. But in general, over the last 10 plus years, we've had some really mild winters. So doubtful. Okay. Any more questions this evening? Same here in Cali. Lots of rain in November, December. Now nothing. Yes, we had the exact same thing, and there was high hopes that we were filling our reservoirs and we were going to pull out of this drought. And literally, in like January, February, it just got turned off. Week after week. And we even, I remember watching the news, and they would say, "Well, we got a storm coming in next week," and then next week would appear, and they would say, "Oh, it split and it went a different direction, or it weakened." Don't know. Concerning the Fed stepping in, onto the mortgage thing. Well, I had mixed emotions about it when it happened during COVID. I definitely had mixed emotions about it, but their plan worked. You look at the data. People got to stay in their homes. Home prices stabilized. Home prices went up. So in just about every state, nationwide, they stabilized the real estate market during a tough time we had. Factor, we had an economic downturn. The entertainment industry, the restaurant industry was just the airlines, the car rental companies were just knocked out completely. Very, very little business. When does spring usually start in Utah? Been here for a month, coming from Georgia, and just wondering when things start getting green here. Hope not too soon, since I just got my whole family skis. Okay. Usually I would say probably in March. Normally, February will be the last of the snow that we usually will receive. Normally in March, as the temperature warms up a little bit, normally 40s, 50s, a little too warm to turn to snow, but March, April, May is normally rainy season. If we get any moisture come across, it'll be typically in the form of rain, except for the mountains. They will receive snow. The snow and the ski resorts will stay open. So, but I usually consider March. Utah is really good real estate. I saw a pretty nice house up in the mountains for fairly cheap. Cool. Mike, I'm here. What town do I stay in to visit Bryce National Park? Wow. I personally haven't stayed in any of the towns around there. So when I went to Bryce, we were staying in St. George. So we commuted from St. George, but so I'm not as familiar with some of them right around Bryce. What are the contingency plans during a drought emergency? How often? Well, I'm not too sure what the state's contingency plans are 100%. Something's being discussed right now. They are trying to work on water management. What they did last year during our drought was when you were watering your yards, you could not water during the daytime. You also were restricted the amount of days, or they wanted you to cut down the amount of days that you watered instead of every day, to spread it out. And what we're going to do in the future, I personally have my own ideas. I hope they institute them. The number one thing that is a pet peeve of mine, and I've mentioned it before, if you notice a lot of businesses, new businesses over the last 20 years that have been built in Utah, go by a gas station, Maverick, 7-Eleven. Out front, you will see grass as landscaping. many cities require 10% landscaping for all commercial properties on the new construction. So they're forced to use water and put grass in. And for many years, I've always thought that was a total waste. 100% total waste. Desert landscaping. You should allow desert landscaping, and they should have encouraged desert landscaping in a plan. If you're like 7-Eleven, you want to build a new gas station, hey, desert landscaping, yeah, you got our approval for that. Go for it, buddy. Looks good. But no, they've stuck to trees, bushes, and grass, and you have to use water for all of those. I wish they would eliminate that particular ruling, and I hope the governor steps in. And it can also go down to some cities. So I've got a friend who has an RV pad on the side of his house. He's on about quarter acre, I would imagine. Built a big shed in the backyard and went to the city and said, I'd like to concrete from my house back to the shed to have like a walkway, and I'm going to rip out all these sprinklers, et cetera, et cetera. They said, nope. Requirement is you have to have so much grass or landscaping in the form of grass or trees and shrubs on your property. And with him putting that concrete in, it would exceed the limitation. And he fought and said, look, I'm going to save water. I'm taking out all these sprinklers and grass, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. And he could not get approval for that. So I hope that changes. I realize Utah doesn't have maple trees. Hence, we are not maple syrup producers. How late in the spring are ski resorts open for skiing? So it really depends on the precipitation that we receive in March and April. I've seen ski resorts open in May. So it really depends. One tough thing, some years when we've had that, is ski resorts will shut down because they can't find the employees. There are some people that work at the ski resorts that have other jobs, so they have to leave the ski job to go back to another job that they have. And they sometimes have a hard time finding employees once we get past, say, a certain time period. But I've seen, yes, by far. All right, at the basin now, chairlifts close at 3:30 and 4 p.m. Okay, cool. Another basin fan. I can't believe how low Salt Lake is. Drove to Antelope Island and could not believe how much of the lake dried out. Yes, that's the drought. It's yes, it is. It sure is. I remember winters at where some of the homes that were built in, say, the 50s and 60s had a flat roof, or they had a roof with a low pitch, and the snow would pile up on the roof, and people were afraid that it would break the rafters. And people were up there with their shovels. Sometimes they'd get a snowblower up there and blow it all off. It's been a long time. I've seen car dealerships and other businesses where the snow has just piled up and they have no room to park cars. They would hire construction companies with dump trucks, and they would load the dump truck and they would haul the snow away. It's been a long time since I've seen that. We do not receive winters like that anymore. Not at all. I think my snowblower this year I used 2 times. I think 2 times. Maybe only one. Yeah, about 2 times. It must have been November, December. Every other snowfall, like the one that we just received here, was literally like 1/4 inch. And I've got what I call a double-bladed shovel. So it's like twice the width of a normal snow shovel. And I just push that, and 4, 5, 6 scoops side to side, and driveway's cleared off. So I could probably take a broom out there and I could have pushed it off. Utilities are electric, gas, water, and trash pickup. Anything else? Yeah, you're 100%. Yeah, electric, gas, water, trash, anything else? That's about it. I have a video on my channel on the cost of living. And in that video, I actually go through what my personal bills are: electric, gas, cable, Few other items. I tell you how much I paid last year and what it averaged per month if you want to get an idea of what my costs are for those particular items. You'll also need internet to watch, Mike. Yep. What did your current tenants, dog and cat, say about me renting your basement for $900? They said, no way. Hey, the dog and cat rule the house. They are the king and queen of this house. 100%. What they want, they get all the time. So, yes, me and my wife have no control. They control us. So, 100%. Okay. Any more questions this evening before I call it a night? Great questions. Your dog is cool with me. There you go. But I also keep, my basement for, or my basement does get used for, I have many relatives that do stop. I have relatives in Idaho that come down all the time and always stay at the house. So sometimes it's not an empty house. Okay, I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate all the questions. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And remember that the people in the U.S. military are slowly or deploying to places in Europe and other places. And keep them in your thoughts. If anything happens with the Russia-Ukraine situation. My next life, I want to come back as a dog or cat. Yeah, in my household, you're treated like a king and queen. No worries. Just check and see you. You're welcome there. Thanks. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.